Hi everyone. I am so excited for today's explainer because we are going on a tour of the most incredible microscopic city in the universe. You know, the city that you're made of.
So, let's just dive right in. We're going to explore the very essence of what makes you, well, you. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff like bones and muscle. I mean, let's go deeper. What are you really made of at the most fundamental level?
Now, you might be thinking, hang on, I learned that everything is made of atoms. And you're absolutely right. But here is the critical difference. A non-living thing, like the rock on the ground, is just a collection of atoms. But living things? Oh, we take those same atoms and organize them into something truly amazing. Cells. And that organization, that's the secret to life itself.
The easiest way to wrap your head around a cell is to picture a single Lego brick. You can't build a castle with just one brick, can you? Nope. You need thousands of them all fitting together to create a structure. Well, your body is exactly like that. It's a massive structure built from trillions and trillions of these tiny cellular bricks. Each one is a little powerhouse, a functional unit of life.
And check out how it all scales up. You start with those basic cell blocks. A group of similar cells gets together to form a tissue. Then different tissues team up to form an organ, like your heart or your lungs. Those organs don't work alone. They form an organ system, like your whole digestive system. And when all those systems work together in perfect harmony, you get a complete living organism. You! It's an incredible hierarchy.
So you ready for the grand tour? Let's start from the outside and work our way in. And first things first, we've got to get past security. Okay, so every single cell has this flexible outer layer called the plasma membrane. You really can think of it like a bouncer at a club. It's super picky about who it lets in and who it kicks out. It's not going to let just any old molecule wander inside. This selectiveness is exactly why it's got that fancy nickname, the selectively permeable membrane. It permits some things to pass through, but not others. So how does anything get past the bouncer? Well, a common way is through a process called diffusion. This is just the natural tendency for things to spread out, moving from a crowded area, a high concentration, to a less crowded one. Now, when it's specifically water moving across that picky plasma membrane, we give it a special name, osmosis. It's the same idea, just for water. And this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine you drop a cell into some water, and there's way more water outside the cell than inside. That's what we call a hypotonic solution. So based on what we just learned about osmosis, what do you think is going to happen? You got it. Water is going to rush into the cell to try and balance things out.
And if you're worried about forgetting that, I've got an awesome little trick for you. Just think, hypo sounds a lot like hippo. And what are hippos? They're big and swollen looking, right? So in a hypotonic solution, the cell swells up just like a hippo. Pretty handy, huh?
Now, some cells have more than just a bouncer. Think of plants, bacteria, fungi. They've got an extra layer of what I like to call Z+ security, the cell wall. This thing is a tough, rigid outer layer that provides some serious protection and structural support.
And that right there is one of the biggest differences between us and plants. Our animal cells were flexible, with just that plasma membrane, but plant cells have that membrane plus that super strong cell wall. This is actually what stops a plant cell from bursting when it takes in a ton of water. That Z+ security holds everything together.
All right, we made it past security. Let's head on inside and take a look around the bustling city that is the cell. The first thing you'll probably notice is that huge structure right in the middle. That's the nucleus. It's basically the city hall, the command center, the brain of the whole operation. It holds all the city's blueprints, the DNA. Every single instruction for what the cell needs to do or what it needs to become is stored right in there. And everything surrounding the nucleus, that's the cytoplasm. It's this jelly-like goop that fills the entire cell. Think of it as the environment of our city. The streets, the air, the ground. It's the substance where all the other important structures, which we call organelles, are floating around and doing their jobs. See those little bean-shaped things floating around? Those are the mitochondria. These are the power plants of our city. They are absolute workhorses. They take in nutrients and just churn out usable energy to power every single thing the cell does. No mitochondria, no power. It's that simple.
Now look even closer. You see all those tiny little dots? Those are the ribosomes. They're the little factories that build proteins, which are essential for pretty much everything. And you'll often find these factories set up along something called the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short. The ER is like a massive highway system that zips those new proteins and other materials all over the cell. And finally, we have the vacuoles. These are the city's storage warehouses. In animal cells like ours, you'll usually find a few small ones scattered about. But in a plant cell, there's one absolutely giant central vacuole. It's mostly filled with water, and the pressure it creates pushes against the cell wall, keeping the cell firm. That's literally how plants stand up straight.
So we've seen how a single cell works like its own amazing, complicated city. But that begs the question, how do we get from one city to the trillions that make up a person or a giant redwood tree? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Cells make more cells.
Think about it. Every time you grow taller or heal from a paper cut or even just replace old skin cells, it's all thanks to cell division. It's the fundamental process where one cell divides to create new ones, and it is absolutely essential for life as we know it.
Now, there are two main ways this happens. On the left, you see mitosis. The best way to think of mitosis is like a copy machine. It's how your body makes identical copies of its cells for growth and repair. So when you get a cut, mitosis is the hero that builds new skin. On the right is meiosis. This is a special process used only for making reproductive cells, like sperm and eggs. Its goal isn't to make identical copies, but to create cells with half the genetic info, which ensures diversity for the next generation.
So as we wrap up our little tour, I want to leave you with a final thought. If every living thing is a city of cells, what does that make you? You're not just one single thing. You are a massive, thriving metropolis of trillions of individual cellular cities, all working together in perfect, mind-boggling coordination. Just think about that for a second. What does that truly make you?